This video is brought to you by Mountain Extreme of Rockton, PA. Whether you're in the market for a Can-Am, Cfmoto ATV or side-by-side, Can-Am or KO youth ATVs or dirt bikes, Spider and Riker on-road motorcycles, as well as Cfmoto on-road motorcycles, bad boy mowers, or even your full line of Arctic Cat and Ski-Doo sleds when that white stuff flies. A full line of riding gear and apparel as well to suit your needs. And let's not forget parts and accessories for your machine. When you're ready for the peak of performance in the power sports game, then look no farther than Mountain Extreme of Rockton, PA.
Oh, you scared me there. What? Oh, you came over because you're interested in buying an ATV and know I'm pretty knowledgeable in them? Well, I tell you what, there is a lot of great ATVs out there from Can-Am, Yamaha, Suzuki. What? Oh, okay, so you've seen some prices, you're looking for a more budget-friendly ATV. Well, in that case, look over here at what I have to... Well, I thought it was over here. No. Where in the... It's back here. It's camouflaged. I missed it. If you're looking for a budget ATV packed full of a lot of good features, then look no farther than Cfmoto, like the Cforce 600 I have right here.
Alright, before we jump into this review, I feel like we need to address the elephant in the room because it's a pretty big elephant. And that, of course, has to do with Cfmoto's country of origin. And trust me, I get it. Especially in this day and age, I get it. I only ask that you go into this video the same way I went into reviewing the Cforce 600, and that is focusing on the ATV as just that, an ATV, and not focusing on where it was made, but just on the machine itself as its own separate entity. There, it's been addressed. Let's move on with the review. Now, as far as the design of the Cforce 600 goes, I really like the looks of it. It's slick, it's sharp, and I especially like the looks of the rear tail lights here with the running lights. That single bar that wraps pretty much the whole rear end just looks so good. And not only does it look good, it's practical, as the Cforce 600 has built-in reverse lights. And it's not just for looks. These puppies are bright at night when you need to see to back up.
That is very impressive.
LED running lights that can be turned off adorn the front, and when combined with LED high beam and low beam, give you excellent visibility at night to where you might not feel the need to add a light bar or additional lighting, at least right away. Routine maintenance is going to be a breeze, as removal of this left side panel gives you access to your oil fill and check, as well as your oil filter housing, with the drain hole being directly underneath in the bottom. And removal of the seat, and then popping out this little plastic panel underneath gives you quick and easy access right into your air filter. Now, the battery is tucked back in there a little bit farther, but the camo panel right above pops off, and with the battery hold down bracket removed, it can come out pretty easy.
So hopping on the Cforce and taking it for a ride, you notice that this little single-cylinder engine is quite noisy. It is also, shall we say, pretty vibration. You get a lot of vibration, especially here on your leg. With this CVT cover, it vibrates a lot. I mean, you don't really feel a whole lot of vibration in the rest of the machine, but when you're cruising and your leg's up against the CVT cover, it is just a constant vibration on your foot. One thing I did notice is you're kind of setting pretty low on the machine, or at least it feels low as high as the tank and stuff comes up. It also makes the handlebars feel like they're up pretty high. That's going to be something you're either going to love or hate. I don't mind it. The nice thing about it is when you stand up, if you're a stand-up rider like I am, it is in a better position for standing up. However, I don't know if the camera will pick this up with the seat. The seat is flat back here, and then it has a very, very prominent drop off right here, which tends to be where you want to fall. My natural seating position would want to be about right here. However, because of the seat, I find myself sliding down into that, and that puts me a little farther forward than what I like for riding. I will say probably the biggest thing I noticed right off the bat with the Cforce 600 here is it rides a lot rougher than my Outlander Pro.
Your suspension is your typical double AR in both front and rear, giving you full four-wheel independent suspension. However, Cfmoto does not actually list what the suspension travel is on the Cforce. As you can see here by my flex section, there is not a whole lot of movement out of them tires as the suspension travels. So how does that make the ride? Well, let me show you.
Let's take it over. Where did that come from? Oh boy, yeah. A lot rougher.
And going over the country whoops was definitely a bouncing good time. Now, while it may not be the best riding ATV out there when you're getting aggressive or you come across unexpected dips and bumps in the road, for your regular trail riding at a relaxed or moderately speed, the suspension does do an okay job. And luckily, the seat cushion is plush enough that it helps to absorb a lot of minor bumps and dips and make for a fairly comfortable ride, even for riding hours at a time.
It gets up to speed. The biggest complaint I have over the power of the Cforce is that it seems to take forever to go anywhere. Like, throttle response is pretty lackadaisical. Lackadaisical? You know which word I'm looking for. So it doesn't really come off as having, blow your mind power, so to speak. It definitely doesn't feel like it's the most powerful when it's flat. And it takes a lot of throttle input to get the machine to want to take off and fly.
0 to 30 we did hit in 3.78 seconds, which is on the slower end of a lot of the machines we've tested. Hitting our short course with the Cforce 600 got similar results as well. By netting a fastest lap of 35.7 seconds, which came in as our second slowest machine to go around the short course, narrowly beating my Yamaha Big Bear 400.
So throttle response in normal mode, clutch engages pretty quickly. Giving it the flick test, again it's fly-by-wire, so you get a little bit of thunk. And this does have two different modes. It has normal mode and work mode. And work mode really tames it down even more.
Onboard storage is not great. There is a small box in the front right fender and a similarly small rear trunk that really couldn't hold a lot of gear. One nice thing is it's got a very nice seal around it and seals very tight though, so it should keep a lot of the elements from getting in there at least. Cforce does come with a winch as standard equipment, and it does have your standard 12-volt power supply as well as a USB power supply on the left front fender, which is a nice addition.
Alright, let's go into low gear. We'll see how it does going up Camelback. We'll put it in 4-wheel drive. On the road, head up Camelback. See how it flies.
So it may not shine as far as having power to go fast, but when it comes to low-end torque for woods riding, woods ripping around, blazing new paths, cutting already well-established trails through the woods where speeds are going to be lower, that is where the C4 shines. Plenty of low-end torque for romping through the woods. As long as you're not wanting to go fast, then the C4 600, it's going to get the job done and do it fairly well. And now we get to my biggest letdown of the C4 600 the whole time I owned it. The turning radius is absolutely atrocious, and that's to put it mild. This C4 600 and other C-Forces that I've ridden, as far as the 500, 400, they just don't turn well at all.
19.5 feet turning radius, 2-wheel drive.
Now, is it bad enough you're going to have a hard time maneuvering on well-established trails? By all means, no, not at all. It's not going to hinder that whatsoever. But I blaze a lot of new trails, and in that case, you are going to do a lot of stopping and backing up, as I found myself doing quite a bit.
20.8 feet. A little over a foot extra in 4-wheel drive. Now your dirt bike riders are going to love that the brake lever is on the right side and not the left, as most ATVs, at least Dad loves it having it over here and not over here, because that's what you're used to. I'm finding it hard to get used to that, because both my Outlander and my Sportsman has the brake lever on this side. And the first couple rides I went with this guy, I went to brake quick, was reaching over here, and there was no brake lever there, so that kind of put me in a sketchy situation a time or two. But once you get used to it, yeah, it is kind of nice having it on the same side as the throttle side.
The rest of your controls are pretty much industry standard for an ATV. On the left handlebars, you got your headlight switch. You also have your combination kill switch and starter button. On this model, it's all in the same button, and your mode select button for switching between work and normal mode. On the right handlebar, you have your 4-wheel drive select lever, which they've changed from your typical Yamaha style. You know how this big round dial, you flick to go 4-wheel drive, flick it again, and then push the button to enter diff lock. And to select your gear, you have a nice gated gear shifter on the left-hand side, which shifts smoothly, and I never had any issue with shifting gears the time I had it.
Almost missed it again. Alright, we're going to test out this 4-wheel drive.
Now, as you would expect with having a full diff lock, the 4-wheel drive system works very, very well. It works flawlessly. However, something that's going to hinder where you can go is going to be your ground clearance. Now, Cfmoto lists ground clearance as being 10.6 inches, but I found that it felt a lot less than that. Case in point, this little crossing here, and all my other machines I've been able to cross in 2-wheel drive without any issues, never had to use 4-wheel drive. And you can see here, like the whole center is just getting hung up in this rut, and it's causing me to have to 4-wheel drive. And this is the first machine I've had to use 4-wheel drive in this spot. Okay, 4-wheel drive and a little bit of throttle, and admittedly, had I hit it with a little bit of throttle and 2-wheel drive, I probably could have made it through. But still, the first machine I've had to use 4-wheel drive to get through this hole, even going slow. Now, as far as the tires go, they're not bad for regular trail riding. However, for digging, hill climbing, and again in the mud, these tires aren't the best. And you'll see here in our 4-wheel drive tire test hill climb,
To be fair, I mean, it's a pretty slick hill.
That this has been the first machine where I actually had to use diff lock to make it up and not able to make it up in just regular four-wheel drive.
That is the first four-wheeler to not make it.
One thing I didn't like about the Cforce 800 I reviewed a little bit ago was it steering felt so twitchy, but not on this guy. Let's check the engine braking here. We'll check the engine braking in high gear like we did. The Outlander will cruise about 4 miles an hour. I'll just let off the gas, let the machine do its own thing. That it feels about right for the size of the machine. Let's go back around and we'll try her again in low. Low gear. Oh, we're definitely sliding. Definitely slid more than it held back. We're getting this warp pretty good now. We do a lot of sliding, but it stopped on its own a lot sooner. Engine braking, I'd say, is more than adequate for the size of the machine.
And I did go down it again in low gear when we had a lot better traction than on that previous shot you saw, and you can see how in low gear the engine braking really holds the Cforce 600 back.
Alright, you guys know we can't review a machine without seeing how jumps. So let's just do a little jump here. Actually handles that pretty well. Let's do one more. Pretty easy, actually.
So overall, is the Cforce 600 worth getting, or is it utter garbage? Well, here's the thing. For a budget ATV, you really cannot beat it. That is the honest to goodness truth. You're not going to find anything better for the money, period. It's a good, solid platform. They're growing as far as their reputation for dependability is concerned. Their features are just phenomenal for the price point, and that's just what it comes down to. You're not going to beat it for a better price. Yes, it has its quirks. Yes, it has its little flaws here and there. Again, it's a budget machine, so don't expect to be getting the quality, the performance, the fit and finish of a high dollar machine, because you're not going to get that. But what you are going to get is a machine that's going to get you out on the trail. It's going to give you hours of enjoyment with little issues. It's going to have the main features you need, such as four-wheel drive to go through whatever you point it to, and it's going to do it without breaking the bank. Nowadays, that is probably the most important thing that you need to consider when looking at buying a new machine is, can I afford this? Cfmoto definitely is going to be a brand you can afford, and it's going to get you out there just as any other top dollar brand. And for that, I say hats off to you, Cfmoto. And if you're thinking about buying one, don't fear. These machines have come a long way over the last several years, and I can only imagine how they're going to improve in the many years to come.
So I know another big question that's going to be on everyone's mind is how does this Cforce 600 stack up against my Outlander Pro HD7? Well, you're just gonna have to wait till the next video when I'm gonna do a direct comparison between this guy and my Outlander Pro. So we'll answer that question for you guys coming up. And until then, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. And until next time, no matter what you ride, keep on riding.